Hey, man, y'all know what time it is. One thing's for sure, two things for certain. I got my man Emmitt Dupree. What's popping, man? You know what I'm saying? It's finna get real in here. This is the second interview I've ever done, and it's only right. You know what I'm saying? We got my man Emmitt Dupree up here who just dropped the project. You can introduce yourself with the social media and stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, by the way, first off, family.
Of course.
Y'all can find me at King Emmitt, KING_EMMITT. That's Instagram and Twitter as well. Artist name Emmitt Dupree.
Okay. So, basically, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion, I've seen it. You know what I mean? Even as an artist myself, I personally believe this man is the best artist in Arizona. This comes from, what, you agree? That's Shrubhead. That's Shrubhead in the background. All right, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's two pretty important opinions, especially considering we both very talented ourselves. So, it's funny because before we get into everything, it's funny as hell. I'm gonna tell you the story because I was at my house, obviously in my living room, and my mom was smoking in the living room with her boyfriend, and I guess her boyfriend like knows like a lot of the artists out here or whatever. So I was he was just talking about he just naming artists and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I know Emmitt Dupree too, and he was like, no, because he told me about my Podson interview. Oh, okay. He was like, yeah, I know Emmitt Dupree too. I was like, yeah, Emmitt Dupree, I think he's the best out here. And then my mom, my mom was like, "What you just say?" And I was like, Emmitt Dupree. I was like, "I think he's the best out here." He's like, "You're not supposed to say that."
You can't say that. The rules don't go like that.
That's real, but for real. Yeah, I think as artists, I think it's more. I think it's important that we keep a objective. You know, as far as not objective, but you know, we keep our subjective opinions as clear and unbiased as possible. It's the only way to become better.
That's real.
You know what I mean? So
big thank you, man. Big
of course. You know
that's giant to me. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So when let's talk about the after I fucking cracked, man.
Let's get it, man.
And then I cracked. So before we even digest the whole entire project, because I want to go into like a decoding.
Let's get it. I'm happy.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know how it is as artists. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people did appreciate, you know, two things for certain, but it's just I don't think people really got into the entire aspect of it. And I was catching a lot of things that you did that I don't think a lot of people caught, and they still believe is the best project out. So it only makes sense for us to get into it thoroughly.
Thank you.
So before we get into that, I want to go into where. First of all, what part of Phoenix you from? If you from Phoenix.
Yeah, Westside. 67 Osborne. Yeah, Westside.
So you been here like most of your life, or?
Most of it. I was in Texas too for a little second. But
okay, too. I just came back from Texas for what's it called? No Mate. Yeah, I was lit.
That was tight, actually. I remember.
So I want to know how does that area of Phoenix influence who you become, as far as not even musically, just like who you are?
Ooh, that side of Phoenix is it's done like a change. When I was younger, it was just as far as the demographic is concerned, you know what I mean. It was different. It was very different. At this point, like it's a lot more like the Latino culture has that in like a chokehold. I want to say, you know what I mean, like that area. So I mean, it's definitely.
Goddamn! All right, go ahead.
It's all good. It definitely changed. I could say, the older I got, the more rough it got as well. So that definitely kept me on my toes. Like, and I think like to an unhealthy point on my toes, because I was worried about literally like, oh, what's gonna happen, like type thing. So it was something.
So would you say, I hate to put you on the spot.
Oh, do you think?
But would you say the demographic, as far as, you know, because it's usually like, if I would just throw a random number out there, probably 8, like out of every 10, probably 8 Mexican to 2 black within you know, the certain like lower end communities out here. Would you say that you've dealt with racism from that demographic specifically?
Absolutely. To be honest, I've dealt with racism more from that demographic, because kind of that's what I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure if I was around a lot, you know, or maybe like another particular race per se, I would get it from them. But yeah, no, I mean, I would say I don't want to say the majority, maybe half, but that's still a lot as far as like the percentage is concerned. But
Yeah.
maybe like half of my like racial experiences has been with like the Latino like community.
That's interesting because I don't think a lot of people believe. I don't think a lot of people believe that that's
It's a thing.
possible. Yeah, I don't think they think it's a thing. That but I've dealt with a lot of racism
For sure.
from the Mexican side of or the Latino side of things as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that they're all like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I've dealt with, you know, kind of equal amounts of racism as to the white or Caucasian counterpart.
Right.
So does that mean that it's more of a black we don't like black people thing across the board of races? I don't know. But I do know that I can tell you, and many other black people can also tell you that within the Arizona side of things, racism within the Latino community towards us is a regular thing that I've come to realize.
I've come to realize the same thing. It's pretty regular. I mean, yeah, like the fact that I could say, you know, I've had, like you said, like the counterpart, you know, Caucasians. Like the fact that I could say that half of my experiences came from the Latino community should say a lot in that point, you know, considering it's been like Caucasians who've done this, that you know what I mean?
Yep.
As far as like, you know, history is concerned and things like that. So it's even surprising. Like my first story real quick, I was little and I used to race. I had a best friend named Francisco. And like obviously he was a Mexican dude. Cool dude, man, great guy. We used to race people every time, like third grade. And that was our thing. It was like, oh, we got a new student, let's race him, you know, see if he fast, you know.
True.
That was like the initiation process. So we was just like, okay, for sure, let's race him. I see him at the store. That's my best friend. We're the two fastest people there. I see him at the store. It's AMP and right on 67th and Thomas. And I'm like, hey, Francisco, and his mom right there. My dad with me. First time seeing him with his parents. You know, I was like, hey, Francisco, what's up, bro? This man looks at me, looks at his mama, went to go trade his chips like I didn't say nothing to him. That was my first racial experience that I remember. Once I got outside, Pops explained to me, he was like, okay. He's like, it's all good, because he seen I was sad. He's like, it's all good, but this is what you're going to encounter. He said, this was just your first one. He said, your friend right there, he said, his mama's impression is a lot more important than yours. And she probably don't like you.
That's true.
And you know why. And from that point, bro, my first experience, bro, my Mexican friend Francisco.
That's crazy. I don't think we talk about that enough. As far as the conversation as to where discrimination goes.
Absolutely.
I think we, as black people in general, just deal with discrimination across the entire board.
I agree.
Of race. I mean that and there's people who would say the Asian demographic is the most racist demographic on the planet. There's people who would say that.
It's something.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. I wouldn't really know because I haven't encountered too many, but you know that is a dialogue that has been created. I was
real quick in Tempe, and like that's, you know, I was there for a hot little minute. There was like in this apartments we were in, Charlie Brown's apartment. There was just a bunch of Asians, you know, there for their schooling, of course, per se. I can tell you one thing, they will not acknowledge, like even acknowledge your existence. We had this one girl used to call police on us because the whole first year we started making music, nobody was calling the police on us. It was good. And this next year, which was this year, we had the police knocking on the door like every time. It was like, we can't even make music. And we found out it was the neighbor under us, and she was this Asian girl, and we knocked on the door like, hey, you can talk to us. You can tell us to turn it down before you go straight to the police. Bro, she would act like she didn't speak English, and we would hear her on the phone. Like, I heard you on the phone speaking to the officer pretty clearly. Your diction is pretty well. It's like, it's good. And you know, nah. So, I mean, I've had my own little with that, too.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. But a lot of my friends that I grew up with, you know, here in Arizona were more Mexican people. So it's not even that, you know, it's not even to say that like the demographic itself is Mexican. I mean, it's racist.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the older generation, the older generation's ideologies do happen to trickle down to the younger. And I believe that I do believe the younger demographic is starting to get rid of that. Basically,
I agree.
Mostly because, you know, a lot of my friends that I still have, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they've never said anything racist towards me and stuff like that. And we kick it all the time and stuff. And I see a lot of Mexican people acknowledge the fact that there is racism within their community towards black people specifically.
Absolutely. And some recognize like the, you know, the compare and contrast between certain struggles. Like some recognize, they can see that. Like, and again, like I have, you know, Mexican friends, like you said, like, it's just like, yeah, I have these people as friends, these individuals here, these here as well. But I literally think with the demographic being what it was, the fact that so many people and like, I want to say like, groups are racist. I think whatever the majority of the group we would have had there would have been my, you know, my apex of racial experiences as well, you know, but yeah, it just happened to be in the Latino area. So
I think that also stems from, you know, black people, like they'll say that they'll use, you know, when a cop shoots a black person or something like that, they'll use the analytics that move towards there's more black on black crime than there is cops killing black people. But then you ask yourself, if black people didn't live next door to each other in bare minimum conditions, they probably wouldn't have to kill each other all the time.
Exactly.
So I think it's more about environment than anything. So
absolutely,
I think that comes with the racial tension that usually is there between black people and Mexicans. Yep. So when did you decide? How many minutes we got on there? Okay. So how many? So when did you start realizing that you were going to go in the direction of music?
Very young. I used to sing. I used to literally walk around singing. I was singing first. Like, you know, shout out to everybody, you know, like y'all be showing love with my rap and everything. I appreciate that. But like, I've been singing like for a long time. I started doing that. I was singing like Sammy and like Marvin Sapp, like Church Around the House, you know, like that's where that stemmed from. And like, honestly, the women let me know like early. Like I just sing to girls. Like that was what it was. Like literally, like that little Frank Ocean Songs for Women song. Like that was my little life. Like it talked about like you be using singing to get girls, bro. Like that's a fair. Like yeah. Like they let me know first, and like after that, I was like, okay,
true. Yeah, I remember my mom actually tried out for American Idol one time.
That's fire.
Yeah, she came back mad as hell. She didn't make it, but man, she came back. She was crying. Like I remember that shit. I used to sing myself though when I was really young, and I remember one time I was in the car, and I don't remember what Usher song it was. It was in like 2005, so it was off of whatever album came around that time. Probably yeah. I was singing one of the songs on there, and she started critiquing me and shit, and so ever since I just stopped. So you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
For real, it'd be like that. I feel you.
And you got some vocals too, bro. Nah, for real.
I'm not a skilled singer, but
you got it though.
I got like a weird,
and it contributes
a little pocket.
It contributes to your sound too, and that's all that. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
So this is my thing though, because now that I know that you were a singer first. How did you develop the ability to rap at the level you rap at? Because it's not even just like oh, you're rapping. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people rap. But it's like, you got the people like Rocky Tirade,
Yeah,
and then you got
crazy.
Shrubhead.
Right, shout out.
You got Unorthodox.
Shout out.
You got a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot, but you got a few people who really like they separate themselves. So as someone, you would imagine that. You know what I'm saying? JD, you started rapping first. Do you sing? No. So you would imagine that most of these cats, they started rapping first.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're this good. But for you to sing first and to be able to rap at such a high level.
Thank you.
How did you, before I even asked that, when did you start to realize you wanted to put that to work? Like rapping especially.
It all started with spoken word at first.
Ah.
I did write spoken word poetry, and that helped as well with the women. Like literally, that was all what that was what that was. So I just turned my spoken word into rap, because the thing about spoken word is when you do it, often the ones I was listening to, they had rhymes within the line before they get to that last rhyme every time. So it was like, I don't know, a random example. Inner schemes within, inner rhymes within. Like, this A sound, like I heard this 3 times before he got to the end line. Like, and literally that's how I started writing, and then like I just started rapping. Like after that, the singing came. I literally started rapping. My first tape is all R&B. It's called Complicated Heart. It's on Dat Piff right now. Like
my first shit was on Dat Piff too. My first shit on Dat Piff right funny, now.
Boy. Oh, for real? That's funny. For real. I got to do a Dat Piff check on the Arizona artist. See who was really on Dat Piff.
Yeah, Emmitt Bungus. That's when I was 16.
That's real. My first tape had Dizzy on it. Dizzy was a feature, and Turo was a feature.
Okay.
And they were rappers. That was the only rap on there.
So what age did you start
rapping?
Yeah.
Still young, maybe like 13.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just singing like 5. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's
That's crazy. So, from that perspective, now that you answered that, how did you get to the point where you are able to rap at this like elite level that you rap at right now? Like,
there's a couple things I feel like contribute to that. My dad's music taste. He played everything. That man played like Journey. He played like DMX heavy. He played like Earth, Wind, like it was everything. It was like all that. I know that contribute. I know as far as how processed words can contribute as well. I do like to read. I've always liked to read. I was reading before I was like rap, of course. Also like a lot of influence. Like a lot of influence. I love listening to music altogether. So like to hear somebody say something so crazy, and it's like, man, like I could kind of do this. Like, why not do this type thing? And also battle rap. Battle rap. Man, people don't give enough credit. Battle rap.
Nah, definitely. They always talk about the elements of hip hop.
That's real.
There's 5 elements of hip hop, and battle is one of them. You know what I mean? People
exactly.
don't talk about that
Because it's just a little more. Yeah, I was about to say it brings a little more out of you.
So people don't want to talk about that.
That's real.
That influence, battle raps really influenced me too, because I was battling first. You know what I mean? So
no, that's real.
Yeah, for real.
That's fire.
So who are the people that you would say influence the way you rap? Because we all got the influences that influence the way we. You know what I'm saying? Like I got like Meek Mill and like fucking.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, Meek Mill, MF Doom.
That's real.
Even the way Tupac did his shit, like
absolutely. No, I can see that for sure. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of different artists, and JD's got the Ab Souls of the world. You know what I'm saying? And all whoever else. So who are the people you can say have definitely impacted the way you've morphed your sound as far as rapping and shit?
Kendrick Lamar for sure. Sci-Hi the Prince,
dog.
That man's crazy. Andre 3K,
dog.
Who I want to say? I don't know. That's a pretty lyricist wise, probably those 3.
I could hear that.
Yeah, like Andre a lot, really. Like if you hear songs like Granny Said, certain songs like where my delivery is more like it's just kind of cut, like it's just like you know what I mean? That's Andre, like
it's like that, like it's kind of like taking it's like a brick, like chopping
every
the edges
yes
like, right before you end the rhyme.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's just those three for sure. I can't even think of anybody else right now.
It really be like that. And then you get home and
I know.
wait.
Oh, man, we had.
Yeah,
man. I'm gonna leave that for now.
All right, bet. What about Royce the 5'9"?
Royce, okay, there we go. Royce is absolutely fire. I think that man is top 10 all time.
I agree.
Okay, I was like, I don't even think there's like an argument. I don't even think there's like an argument. Like,
the Book of Rock.
I got Joe Budden in there too.
That's beautiful. Slaughterhouse. Okay, let's shout out Slaughterhouse all together real quick.
They all nasty.
Man, they're ridiculous. Crooked's ridiculous. Like,
who the Wink Link though?
Who the Wink Link? I was about to say Eminem now. In my opinion, I prefer every one of them before Eminem.
I think I gotta say Eminem's probably the Wink Link in my opinion. Like, I just think it's like a lot of Eminem's fire. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I mean, before.
Absolutely.
But it's like he don't really. It's just a lot of. I don't mind randomness in the rapping, but when you do it all the time,
every time,
it's kind of like you're not even getting to the like.
That's how he raps.
Yeah, I just don't like exactly. That is how he raps. That's his core. But anyway, that kind of gives me a better picture, you know, as far as like how you rap and what, because I didn't really know before.
Okay, I feel that.
Besides, like, I could hear Andre. And I can hear Sci-Hi too. Like, I originally heard Andre and Royce. That's what I heard.
I don't know why I miss Royce. He's definitely like top 5. I say in my top
Royce
5 lyricists.
But so when you just, because you obviously were going more the singing route, right? Did you, when you started doing more rap music, which one did you get more attention from?
Singing.
Yeah,
I had a really hard time rapping because, like, with the women being the first thing that inspired me to do, like, music in general, kind of in a way, or to push for it, I didn't have many, like, male friends. So, like, when I started to rap, it was just unfamiliar for women. So, it was just like, that's tight, you know, but it wasn't,
they're not really,
you know, they didn't hear that bar or that little reference I had here, and, like, I had literally like 3 friends that were dudes, and Dizzy, he still raps. Terrell still raps. They were like the first 2 people I was like rapping around, and they were very decent at that age. So it was just like, okay, I'm getting a good, you know, gauge at least from what it was.
Yeah.
But it was hard because rapping, like earlier this year, I wasn't necessarily getting, you know, in my opinion, as far as how good I rap, like for the state, like if I were to drop a For the State again, I think it would do way better. It'd be way more appreciated. Like, yeah, for sure. Rapping literally just got better for me, man. I can tell you that. But I just kept doing it because like people believe it. And then I started to notice my purpose as well. So then I started to notice that the reason why I can rap, and I haven't been doing it for maybe somebody who's like just, you know, came out the gate doing it, is like the responsibility, like that was granted to me. So that's what kept it going, because it was definitely difficult.
Okay, so I think like it'd be a understatement to say that this year was the year where you really cemented yourself.
Thank you.
As one of the top acts in Arizona.
You were one of the first people, bro. Like when we blow up, I swear, like you was one of the first people that was like, no, Emmitt Dupree, like, and I know, you know, I know my skill level. You feel me? So to see somebody go to bat like that, it was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's because I'm also a very elite lyricist. So it's like when I hear it, because it's rare. Because a lot of people, because like I said, a lot of people rap. A lot of people are really good at rapping. A lot of people are great at rapping. But then there's a level even higher than that.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like you are on that level. I feel like I'm on that level.
Absolutely.
I feel like the Shrub Heads of the world on that level.
Absolutely.
Rocky Tirades.
Absolutely.
You know the typical guys I always refer to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So when you know what I'm saying? When I heard like, I think the first song that was really like, oh shit. I don't know why I feel weird cussing.
I was trying not to cuss. I was not cussing.
I was like slow it down for some reason. But I was like blowing this shit up when I was on Capital. But now it's like, I don't know. It's just like the whole podcast feel is just like,
it is something.
Know.
No,
yeah,
it's just like a professional feel to it almost.
But the first song I heard, I was like, damn, was because I heard your music before. Obviously, I thought you were tight. But the first song I heard, I was like, oh my god, was Zeus. Zeus was crazy, and I always go back. To the and they always talking about how they computers. I might have to troubleshoot them. Oh my god! Thank you. That shit was crazy.
Thank you.
So yeah, this was last year. You know what I mean? And yeah, just like being around you more often, and you know, even when you were about to have the battle with Dan Lewis, and you showed us the lyrics.
Oh, I remember
I was like,
that.
Man, this guy is a fucking.
I wanted
animal,
to, man. I wish he would have. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, it was great. And it was great to show y'all that too, because I only did it because I was like, these are some real lyricists right here. Like they're gonna literally hear this. Yeah, I'm that was funny.
I think you've gotten even better since.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
So let's talk about what it took this year to cement your spot as far as one of the best. Was that your intention? Because there's obviously there's a huge difference between what you were doing last year and what you were doing this year. First, let's ask that. Why were you more aggressive this year than you were last year?
For real, I had a manager, and you know, and shout out to him. You know he is. You know that's my brother. But we have a lot of differences in what I should drop and what image I was gonna come out with. And like honestly, I was just like, bruh, like let me rap, like you know what I mean, like let me do it. And like this year, I did it. And like he's not my manager no more, you know. That's my homie though. But yeah, bro, like this is music business, not music friends. And so I was like, bro, like I'm gonna just try to do this, bro, myself. And he in California, like he almost got me some, you know, looks. Like he one of my songs that's gonna be in the next tape this next year coming or whenever it's drop. But yeah. He almost got me like a little HBO.
Oh, that's fire.
Spot. Yeah, on Silicon Valley. Like, you know, so he did his thing, or he was doing his thing there, but he was just like, no, don't drop this.
He's trying to control the actual artist perspective.
And I need that control. Like, and then I did it. And this year I was just like, bro, I got to do me. And that was it.
So would you would that be your ultimate message to anybody who's watching and still doing that thing? Would it be just go and do it?
There's a little more I want to say. Go and do it for sure, and don't let an opinion of an anybody. Because sometimes you just know what it is. Like trusting yourself a lot more. I definitely want to say that. Trust yourself a lot more and present yourself professionally. That's one thing I did this year as well. I presented myself professionally. The cover arts that I was dropping, things of that nature, I took that just as serious as the songs I was dropping. Yeah. You know, I took the skits as serious. I took random songs like the Miyagi song, that even though it didn't, like, you know, it's like a little track, you know, little song of what it is. The end of it had something to do with what, like, you know, the beginning of what this tape was. Like, I just kind of contribute everything, and I had a plan, and I kept saying December. I was like, December. And I didn't know what it was. I knew I was dropping in December because, you know, rest in peace to my granny as well. But, bruh, I did it. I took it serious. I made it professional. I didn't let nobody tell me what to do. Like, you be talking about and people be hating on you, and you be like, nah, do what you got to do. That's real. And that's literally what I did.
That's what it comes. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, man. So
period.
So how much? So when it came to I think it really started getting this, like, for real. When you started doing the one takes.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's when niggas was like,
absolutely.
God damn, like this nigga's snapping. You know what I'm saying? So what diplomatic immunity specifically, what inspired you to say, you know what? I'm gonna take the approach of getting on a industry beat and doing a one take video where I'm just rapping.
That approach came from me being observant, to be honest. I watch, I'm a very observant person, and I do watch artists, and you've set a lot of precedents that people should be watching, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. My thing is, at the end of the day, it's free. It's so free. It's easy to show love. Like,
facts.
It's free.
That's facts.
Like, literally, you could be like, oh, bro, now you helped me out. Like, a lot of your ways helped me out.
Hey,
so it's fun. No, that's real, man.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Niggas be scared to, but for real, like, I literally just did. I was like, okay, let's do these one takes. And I was just like, I'm going to put all of my lyrical ability in here. Like, I'm going to just go crazy on every single one of these. So it's not going to be like, oh, that one bar he said. Like, I was like, no. This is everything into these one takes. And once I started putting everything into anything in general, I learned that, I can do that anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because typically times have changed since then as far as the industry and things like that. But I feel like at that time, the idea that somebody could just do a one take and just snap, you wouldn't really tell somebody, hey, if you wanna like get your name up, you should just do a one take and snap, because it seemed like at that point, for whatever reason, it kind of seemed like lyricism was like something to hate on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's I can say right now it is starting to come back around. Like, people,
for real.
Yeah, no, you right about that. Damn right. I was about to censor myself from damn, but yeah, you damn right about that. Like, for real. Like, I was just like, okay, and like I did catch the curve as well. I do want to say that. That was the only thing that was, I thank God, because I caught the curve, and I was just like, and I seen it coming back. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it now. Like, you know what I mean? I do it now. Like my pop say, stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Like, so that's just what I do with that. Just eat. You know what I mean? Like, how many people can deny you going just ridiculous?
Can't.
Like, how can you deny? Exactly. Unless you mad.
That's the thing. And that's what's so important about bars. That's what's so important about bars is that, or just being able to rap. When somebody sends you a song or something like that, no matter what it sounds like, you can say this is whack.
Absolutely.
When somebody is rapping though, like really going in, it's hard for you to say, especially when it's at an elite level, like the way you rap.
Thank you.
It's hard for you to be like, oh, that was whack. You can't really do that unless you do it in private. You can't really do that in public or on social networks without people looking at you like, what? You didn't hear this? You didn't hear this? You didn't hear this? You didn't hear this? So I find it interesting that, A, you were able to do something at a time where it wasn't really looked up upon.
Right.
That you were able to do something and succeed on it. Not only that, but you were also able to I feel like contribute to shifting the overall narrative within Arizona culture about lyricists in general.
Thank you.
2017,
it's big.
2017, when it came to 20 pounds, it was like the appeal was, oh, it's a bunch of young guys and they can rap.
Right.
The
and
fact that has to be an appeal just lets you know where everything was.
That's crazy. And they can rap. Like, that's not the profession we're in.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that lets you know where the idea, like how people perceive lyricism. But then now it's kind of like, it's gotten to the point where people was like, oh, like, you not spitting?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's getting to that point where people are kind of expecting it when you get on certain type of songs and stuff like that. And I think you contributed to that.
Thank you.
Greatly.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I think you shifted the narrative to where, you know what I mean? And I think that's why you're in a lot of people's top 5, because it's only some things you can deny. You can't deny somebody's ability to rap.
Thank you. That's real, man. Thank you.
So after So where do you feel like after diplomatic immunity and the one takes was your idea to what was your idea following that? Like what were you gonna do after you were doing the one takes?
Okay, so I did have a little plan. My plan this year was to drop, I don't want to say miscellaneous, but things that aren't a project, and I'm gonna say, and it is going to be so. This is all gonna lead up to a project.
Okay.
Everything is gonna lead up to what this is. So even like drunk as fuck, like that went wild. Like, and that was probably my first. That was probably my first like whoa, like people from out the state is like looking. It was crazy. I was sitting at my job. I used to work at Super 8 or whatever, and I'm at the front desk or whatever. And Charlie Brown hit me like, bro, I think Lyrical Lemonade posted drunk as fuck. And I was like, bro, I don't got time for that right now. Like, bro, I was like, bro, I'm working, bro. Like, please, Charlie Brown, like, not now, bro. And then Dizzy took the phone, was like, nah, bro, get on Twitter. Got on Twitter, and I was like, oh, and drunk as fuck is the throwaway of throw.
It's crazy. It
Absolutely.
really be like that,
man.
For a lot of artists. I don't know why it works like that,
man. And like, I didn't even like it was because people was hitting me up. They was like, bro, did you submit? I didn't know like that was like a submission type thing because Lyrical Lemonade was. As far as my scope was pretty big, like especially Chicago. So I was just like, nah, bro. Like I didn't even know we could submit. Now I know we could like submit a song and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, like blessings, like thank God.
That's crazy. Yeah, and drunk as fuck is fire.
That's
I don't know
funny.
how I
That's
forgot
funny.
about that. But drunk as fuck was like, I think that was really wait, diplomatic immunity was before that, wasn't it?
It came for the state. This is how it happened because I'm behind the scenes. For the state came, drunk as fuck came, diplomatic immunity came.
Whoa.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. No, so as far as that first little, because For the State did something for me, even though it didn't do too well numbers.
And that's something we're gonna talk about at the end because I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't recognize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's crazy because drunk as fuck coming before diplomatic immunity makes so much more sense now.
Yep, because I was flipping. I was just like, all right, here go rap, here go singing, here go rap, here go singing, here go rap. Because that's one of my things too is like I don't know what to give next when it comes to rapping or singing. Because my singing and my R&B or alternative, whatever it is so different from the rap.
Yeah.
And it's like this won't be cohesive at all.
Yeah, that makes hella sense. That makes hella sense.
So the
where,
drops
as far
are always
where you look at like a 50 Cent or like a Tupac or something like that, when they rap, they're just kind of putting like the little melodies here and there. And J. Cole's, they're just doing it. So it's kind of like they can branch that, and it kind of doesn't really seem. But you are so talented in both areas. It's kind of like.
Thank you a lot.
Yeah, I can see the conflict there. That makes sense. I never thought about it like that.
That's my manager's thing, and it wasn't wrong. His thing is like, oh, like we could make you like a full singer, bro. And it's like we could make you like a full rapper, like, and like you not gonna be dropping like Frank Ocean songs and then be rapping like DMX and then like be like and accept it, cause like nowadays, yes. I want to say, but what I want to say is, to my manager's point was, you get different spurts of these crowds. So like he was kind of afraid of drunk as fuck blowing up, because he was like, if drunk as fuck blow up, you then have to come with this esque of what you blow up from. You know what I mean? And then and he was so like that was his thing, and I didn't necessarily.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, I was just like I could do it
because you got Drake.
Yeah.
And Drake, like, you kind of like, you don't sound like Drake, but as far as the prototype, you're kind of like an evolved Drake, where you can sing at such a, I've always thought about that, where you can sing at such a high level, but then because Drake was singing like, he was singing like a Omarion or something, and then rapping like a like a second tier type rapper.
Right.
Or you singing like a high level R&B artist, and then rapping like a Kendrick or something like that. It's like the high level artistry,
and
on
it's
both sides.
Polar opposites.
Right.
Right.
So I think that could be that's an advantage. I feel like that you could use.
That's why this tape is what it is.
Yep. Let's talk about that too.
I was like, how am I gonna mix this? I even did a little poll. I was like, man, should it be rap? Should it be singing? You know?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
I got half.
What?
I was like half. It was only like 30, 40 people. I got half. I was like,
that's crazy.
okay. And it made
it worked out though.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It did work
Absolutely.